So this article is short and it's not very lengthy at all, and it's basically yet another blatant response from someone who assumes that people of color or minority people are the ones that are the only ones on welfare, and as if white people are not on welfare, when that is the other way around. You'll have oftentimes more white people that are on welfare. It's just not publicized as much. And, you have probably an equal amount. And so, who else would pay for welfare? White Lives Matter sign causes controversy in Ohio. And so this sign is very overt. It's out there in your face. This is by Dawson White. And so the owner of a tire shop in Ohio is receiving backlash from the community after putting a what is called white, quote unquote, White Lives Matter on the sign outside of his business. The owner of Mike's Tire in Bethesda told WTRF he put up the sign outside the tire shop more than 3 weeks ago and started receiving calls and Facebook comments this week. So it reads, closed weekends, White Lives Matter, who else would pay for welfare? Trump 2020 photos are showing. So at 6, the sign outside of Bethesda business is generating controversy, especially on social media, and I'm talking with the business owner as well as the NAACP as well. And so this was a Brittany Grego, TOV9. So maybe they're a reporter or somebody that is important. So some members of the community have called the sign racist, but the owner said that's not the case. And we've heard this song and dance before, haven't we? That I'm not a racist. I'm just voicing my opinion. I'm just giving my educated criticism, or I'm just giving my feelings, sharing my feelings. So it was never to be racist. It's not to be racist in my mind. And then what is it? Because the way the sign is written sounds like it comes off as racist. So for the people that's reading into it and taking it different ways, my apologies to you. And so I really don't believe that the person is sincere, even though they're making these apologies. But he told WTRF, and I think the reason why he's saying this is because he's getting a lot of backlash from it. But that is my sign, and here we go. I said it before I read it. That is my feelings, and I will put that up there. So that is the question if you read it again. That is a question if you read it. So Jerry Moore II, president of the NAACP's Belmont County chapter, said that the sign is perpetuating false information and should be removed. So it's WTOV who reported this. So we actually all pay for welfare recipients to receive the benefits. Yes, through, tax money, and everybody's doing that. Even people of color, black people, when you work, everybody is paying into that. So Moore told the outlet. So when you just take facts out of thin air and put them on a billboard and call them facts when they are your opinions, that becomes a problem. So according to the Economy News outlet, fortunately, the largest share of welfare recipients are white. So several community members spoke in favor of the sign, saying that the owner has a right for free speech, which is true. So freedom of speech, but let me stop there. Let's be honest here. When black people say what's on their mind, we end up getting fired. We could probably face getting arrested, or maybe worse. And so, even though there's freedom of speech, it isn't always freedom for everyone. Let's get that clear. Certain select group are allowed to get away with certain things that others are not allowed to get away with. So there isn't really that many freedoms for certain groups. And so let's be clear about that. So yeah, there should be freedom of speech, but we've seen people who have acted on their freedom of speech and they've gotten rubber bullets in the eyes. They've gotten knocked down by riot police for peaceably assembling and protesting and expressing freedom of speech. We've seen how people have been pursued by what they claim are heroes with firearms, which we know people of color and black people especially cannot walk down the street with AK-47s and, um, assault style rifles and pistols. And if we walk down the street, it's assumed that we are going to, do some damage right away. Yet, you can see other people walk down the street with guns and nobody flinches. You don't see riot police shooting rubber bullets off at them, apprehending them, running and grabbing them and gaffling them to the ground. You never see that. Nope. They give them a hamburger at Burger King. They move them to another city to protect them so they can't get harassed. They figure out ways to exonerate them. So that's what we've seen. So everybody is not allowed freedoms, even though this is America. So it's a sad day when you don't have freedom of speech. Oh, really? Because some crybabies don't like hearing the truth. Are you sure about that? Because here's the thing. It's good for one person or one group to exercise their freedoms of speech. Yet when it's black folks exercising freedoms of speech, and if it happens to be credible and it has to do with discrimination of black folks, it's a problem. So I beg to differ on that issue. But I will still patronize Mike's Tire Road Another. I wouldn't. If I was living out there, I wouldn't dare go there because he voiced his opinion, or let's say his feelings. So how do I not know if I'm going to get good tires? Because I'm a black person. If I go there and he thinks that I'm taking his tax dollars because I might happen to be on welfare, then he might give me bad tires. Or maybe he doesn't want to do any service on my car. So I'm not risking that. That's my freedom of speech. And maybe I'm saying it by doing it, by avoiding doing business with a person like that. Now, so leave him alone. This is what the person says. So it's his business, his sign, and his thoughts of Third Road. Now, you'll never see that being said about what Kaepernick did when he knelt with George Floyd in the protest of all of the other people and that have succumbed to police brutality and everyone. Even though he did it way ahead of George Floyd, but still. And there are others that have done it in regard, to Kaepernick's protest. And so they belittled him. They fired him, basically tried to exile him from his profession of football. So he wasn't able to exercise his freedom of speech. So what are you saying? It's good for one group, but not good for others. So others decried that the sign is offensive, which it is. So it's disgusting. Sad to show even more proof that racism is alive and well in Ohio Valley, right up the street from where I am raising my black daughter, one on Facebook has written. He should be ashamed of himself. And he should. Very unprofessional for a business owner. Exactly. We all have feelings and we all have opinions, but you should keep your feelings and your opinions out of the workplace and just do business and stick to professionalism. That's what I would think. But when you put your personal thoughts out there, then it deters certain customers, and then we'll look at that and I'll be like, oh, is that his feelings? Probably not going to go in there. Others may take a step back and be like, who is he referring to? They take their business elsewhere. They'll take a loss. So very unprofessional for a business owner to make a statement in that fashion, regardless of what race you are, wrote another. People of all races have got government assistance at one point or another. In some form. And that is true. So Trump supporter here, that sign is what makes a majority of us look bad. A third wrote this. And so that's so racist, it's unbelievable. So nice way to turn away customers. Exactly. It's so funny that I already say what before I'm going to read it is going to say. This is what a fourth person wrote. Because as soon as I see that sign, I'm going to leave. If I can see the Confederate flag, or if I see signs like that, I am not going to do business with you. So more question the owner's motive in posting the sign. Well, it's an election year, and there's been a lot of hot button topics that have come out. A lot of people have been on social media, so I'm sure that he's been motivated through that. I mean, who can't avoid that? You see it all over the news. So the sign was kind of specific as to how this gentleman felt. So Moore told WTOV this. So I'm not sure if he did it as a publicity stunt to boost his business or to show how he felt. The owner, I think it was both. I think it might have been both. Publicity, so he can hone in on those Trump supporters and those people who are racist, and then also his own feelings. And he probably is the same way, I would assume, from the way he posted it. So the owner said that he plans to take the sign down next week and replace it with one honoring veterans. That might be better. He should have did that in the first place. Or maybe firefighters, because firefighters are going through a lot right now because there's so many fires, and everybody can agree on that. Honor the firefighters, honor the veterans, but honor the firefighters right now because they're really going through some stuff with all these burning fires, these wildfires that are everywhere. I haven't heard much coverage about that. Every now and then it comes in, it comes out. So WTRF reported this as well. So I kind of added a little bit of my feelings in there. And so this is a sign. It's on Twitter. And so Twitter is pretty active. It's on fire right now because of elections. And, this is out of the Miami Herald. And so I just thought I would say this. A lot is going on right now. And so just be careful out there because this is a turning point right now, this election and what's going on. And so anything could happen. What I seen earlier today, and I don't know if I mentioned it in the previous video, is that I actually saw some people who were, and I wouldn't say that they were looting or robbing. They were desperate. It was a crime of desperation. And yeah, it may have been a crime, but it was more desperation. They were starving. They didn't have any food. They didn't have no other way. And so they basically went in food for less. And they actually, these people that I saw, they were filling their car up with groceries. And I imagine that's going to happen a lot, where people are going to do this out of desperation because they've lost jobs. Some people are facing eviction, maybe foreclosure, and some other serious issues. Maybe there's been deaths in the family. Maybe their hospital bills are like super expensive. Who knows? Maybe they don't have any insurance. There's a lot of uncertainty right now, a lot of things up in the air. And so these people went in and basically they were trying to get food because they were hungry. And me, I would have, said, whatever you need, take it. I'll pay for it. You know. But it's sad because this is a place that we're coming to, and um, I would think that more people are going to end up being like this. I seen this happen before, where it wasn't as aggressive as I seen today, but what I saw was people who will stick food in their baby buggy, um, and they ease out the store with it, and our baby diapers and milk, and it may not be the right thing to do, but you can tell it's not clothes, jewelry, and shoes, and we shouldn't steal, but when you have the society the way it's going and people are so desperate, they get to that point where they don't know what else to do, and there's more shoplifting. Crime does go up, and it's crimes of desperation. And so just be careful out there. And you also see these type of incidences, like people putting signs out that basically sound the alarms of racism or division. And I would think it's because of what's going on right now, because of all of what is happening. People are watching the news. People say, "Oh, I don't watch TV. I don't watch." They're watching it. Trust me. The ones that say they're not watching, they're watching it. You can't escape it. It's social media is everywhere. It's on your phone. It's on your watch. It's on your. It's everywhere you look. It's not just on television. Um, the ads pop up. People start talking. And then your curiosity is piqued because you want to know, did your vote count? A lot of people voted early. I know I did. So you see this right here? This right here? He's not the only one. This store owner, tire shop owner, is not the only one that has these feelings. And so there are others out there that may show them in other ways. And some are his way of showing it is it's in your face on a sign, but I've seen people, what we've seen more recently, where people end up getting killed because people have these feelings and they feel like you're the problem, and you're the person that they're talking about in that particular sign is the problem, and that they have to eliminate you. And so this is the scary part. And so this is what I've seen, where people have gotten killed because somebody feels that this person doesn't deserve any rights, or they don't deserve to live. And so there's a lot of craziness going on. And so why I'm saying this is because I've seen videos. Now I'm going to shift gears here, where there are men, it's not all of them, but there's a group of black men that are on YouTube and on other social media sites that do not like black women. They hate them. and they say horrible things, and they post horrible things on Instagram, and they say things, and I'm going to repeat this because some people don't want to hear it, but it is happening, and it's dangerous because the reason why is if social media sites like Instagram and YouTube will allow these guys to put their videos up and say all this horrible stuff, it inspires other men to become more abusive to black females. And I've seen this. And they think by hearing these idiots, and I'm going to say that, say these crazy things online, that they're going to act on it. Maybe this person's saying this because they know it's going to gain a lot of viewers. And it's negative and it's vicious, but it's going to gain a lot of viewers. And that's all they're concerned about, is getting a lot of views and getting a lot of credibility for saying horrible things about women. But they know they have a following, and that's their main concern. And they're getting money and donations for their fake dreams and promises that are never going to be fulfilled. And so some of these guys on here, I have honestly paid close attention to notice their track record. They have a tendency to be popularized. They have, maybe a little podcast. They've invested time. I'm assuming they get paid. They also hire on other people to voice, become they become a ventriloquist, and they have puppets. And even black women who, even though this guy is saying these horrible things about black women, you have this guy who will hire black women to, pretty much voice opinions as if they're not getting discriminated or harassed or talked down on or treated nasty. They basically agree with misogyny as if they're accepting it. And I've seen some, I'm not going to name any names, where they do this. And they're clever with it. And this is the same guy I'm referring to, who he actually had a class, and it was about building economics and money. And this black guy followed him really close, but this black guy had PTSD. And I'm going to share with you a story here. He actually went to the classes religiously and followed this dude online. He bought his books, he read them, and I guess there was some police brutality incident that happened, but this guy actually traveled all the way to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and he was in a shootout with officers. And the same guy that was in the shootout was a student of this guy that was online, and he's still online right now, bashing black women, doing the same things he's been doing. And this guy got so inspired by him, he actually was provoked mentally. And this is how dangerous it is to have these people online. He with the PTSD, his parents said that he was taking medication, but he often wouldn't take it. And he would have these episodes. So he would follow this guy with his economics and black males, building wealth and all this and becoming entrepreneurs and whatnot. And so basically what this guy does, he's more into selling himself online, and he probably makes more of a profit by selling books and doing his lecture classes. And I believe he had one time been on a show. He had been on television at one time, so he had some status, but he's no longer doing that. And something must have happened, which I'm not surprised, because from what I've seen him say on his shows on YouTube and other various sites, it's really negative about black females. And so, but he does it in a way where he's sly about it. He's not like 50 Cent where he's overt and he's just, uh, gut nasty with it. And so when you see these videos of these black guys doing this, and then they're turning against people of their own race and saying that they're going to support Trump, or they hate black women and they're black, maybe their mother, is, not aware that they're posting this stuff, or maybe she's not around. When people you see that do what this guy did here, this guy that has a tire shop, hey, he's watching this. He's thinking, you guys can't even get along with each other. You don't even treat your own counterparts with respect. You don't even treat your women with respect. And here you are, you bash them, you're abusive to them, you're a liability, you're eating up my tax dollars. So that's why they do this stuff. And it gets worse and worse and worse. And when you have guys that get on these sites and they say things against each other, then, that's why you have this constant racism, this constant divide, because people, they feel like if you don't care about people of your own background, then you don't care about you don't care about your family, and then why would you expect them to care about you? That's what I'm saying. So anyway, this guy had a follower, a loyal follower, and this guy went and shot some police officers. I think they eventually killed him, and it was on the news. And shortly thereafter, this podcaster guy, he was on his site, and I was looking, he was saying, I looked around and I had these guys, they were in vans, they were out in front of his house, they were watching him, and then they questioned him, and he said the feds questioned him, and then they said the guy that was the shooter in Baton Rouge, of the officer, was a loyal student of his. I said, that's what you get. Because you're online, you're influencing these black men to hate people and go out and kill. And you're not going to do anything crazy like that because it's crazy and you know what's going to happen. But people who are mentally unstable, when they hear you say these things, guess what they're going to do? They're going to take it seriously. They're going to go out and they're actually going to act on those feelings. They're not going to just feel that way. They're going to actually do something. The guy, before he went out there to shoot the officer, he posted a video saying he was going to take care of things. We didn't know what it was going to be, but later we found out. So, having said this, I'm going to let this go. And this guy is still on YouTube, and he's probably on Instagram, Twitter, and all these places doing the same thing he did before. And now, look what's going on. It's even more crazy. So just think of somebody who sees his videos and they have PTSD or they're mentally unstable and they are inspired to actually act on their feelings. This guy, he posted a sign about his feelings, and it was rude and it was bitter, and but he posted a sign and he said he was going to change it. What about people who don't post signs and they actually act on their feelings? It's a thought. And with what we're going through right now, I wouldn't be surprised if more violence happens because we got people that post that they don't even care about people of their own background. You see what's happening in Nigeria. You see what's happening all over with the Breonna Taylor case. And here you got a 50 Cent saying that he doesn't care. All he's worried about is his taxes. Come to find out that if he had read more into it, he would have read that Biden was talking about the 1%ers. 50 is not in the 1%ers. He's not there yet. And from what he's doing, he won't be there. And so it set off a firestorm on Twitter. And so this right here is, you're going to see a lot of this. This is lightweight compared to what we're about to see, especially just before the election and after. It's going to be for a while. We're going to see some stuff. So get ready. Thanks for listening.